Hey best friend, like today we're gonna do part one and part two of the Freeway Phantom Murders, cause what? We don't have all time, but I just wanted to get this story out to y'all today, okay? So, the Freeway Phantom Murders was a series of murders that took place in the DC area. It was six black girls, they were kidnapped, they were raped, they were murdered, leaving six families heartbroken for 50 years now. Like, the tragic murders, they're still not solved. Like, I don't know when they're going to solve them, but this case has been mishandled, abandoned, and hasn't been solved. This case, it still makes me sad. So, but let's get into it, right? Spring of 1971, Carol was a seventh grader at Johnson Junior High School, and she was one of 8 children and had an identical twin sister named Carolyn. The twins were described as inseparable. While Carolyn was more outspoken, Carol was quiet. It was a sunny Sunday in D.C., Congress Heights. The mother of Carol, Alantine, left that day to visit a relative, right? But before she left, Alantine gave her children strict orders: do not leave the house for nobody, don't let nobody in, and no, you can't play with nobody. You know how it was back then, right? So a while after Alantine left, there was a knock at the door. It was Valerie, Carol's older sister, who was visiting a friend across the hall. Valerie asked one of the kids, "Can y'all please just go to 7-Eleven and just pick up a few groceries, please? Like, I just don't want to go. Like, can y'all just go for me? The kids said, hell no. But Valerie continued to knock on the door, kept being persistent. Eventually, Carol just got fed up and she said, I'll go because I just want to shut you up. The 7-Eleven was in Prince George County, right? So across the state border in Maryland. This one decision, though, led to Carol losing her life, y'all. Like, just that one decision. Along the way to the store, Carol ran into somebody. Guess who? Her mother. Her mother started screaming at her, saying, why you left the house? You weren't supposed to leave the house. But she said, you know what? Finish up your errands, but just know I will be whooping that behind when you get back home. Just know that. But Carol never made it back home to receive her punishment. A few hours passed by. Alantine finally arrives back home, asking where Carol is because she wanted to give her that one too. But the kids said, listen, we haven't seen her home yet. So that's when Alantine, she starts to get worried. She calls the police. The police tells her Carol must just have been a runaway. The same old story. Anytime when a kid go up missing, they love to say, oh yeah, she just a runaway. We'll see though. Alantine went out searching for her daughter with no luck. Carol was just gone. She just vanished, right? So 6 days later, police arrived at Carol's home. The Spinks children all heard their mother just scream. And as the news broke out that Carol's death, I just can't believe it. Earlier that day, a group of kids was playing like a grassy area near St. Elizabeth's Hospital. That's when a boy spotted the body of Carol on I-295. Carol was fully clothed, right? But the only thing that was missing was her shoes. That's just weird to me. Like, I don't know. But anyway, she was sodomized, she was raped, she was strangled, and she's been dead for like 2 to 3 days. All of her body, if you look close, like you could see her neck and her hands had scratches, her face, her chest, just everywhere. The autopsy even shows that the killer fed her some fruit. As far as like I know, Carol, she went into 7-Eleven. She did buy some TV dinners, but some bread, some soda. She did what she was supposed to do. She ran her errand. So the eyewitness tells authorities that they seen Carol walking back home with her groceries. It's safe to say that Carol disappeared within a half-mile distance. Carol's sister said the police hardly were ever around when her sister was murdered, and that she feared that it could happen to her sister. Then it could happen to somebody else. And it did. It did happen. 2 months passed by since Carol's body was found, and the killer was on the move again. Who? This time it was Darlena. She lived in the same neighborhood as Carol, and she left home July 9th, 1971. Darlena was headed to her job as a counselor at the Oxford Run Creation Center. She was getting her money. She was Miss Independent, right? So like most teenagers, listen, she's just excited about summer. She want to be laid up with her boyfriend. She want to be laid up with her friends. You know, she just want to do the thing. So Darlena's mother, she wasn't really expecting her to return home that very day because she knew that the center was keeping a sleepover. So she was cool with her daughter being out because she knew she was going to see her the next day, right? So her job is walking distance, right? So that's cool too. But guess what? Bestie, like Darlena never even showed up for work. Like she never showed up. And that's not in Darlena's character. So the next day she filed her missing daughter as a missing person. And a witness came forward and said that they saw Darlena that afternoon with her boyfriend. Police tried to investigate more further, but the boyfriend mother, she wasn't having it, right? She wasn't dealing with them cops. She was like, y'all ain't talking to my son about nothing. My son don't know nothing. You know how it was. So another witness, she tells the police they saw Darlena driving around with the older African man in an old black car. After Darlena's abduction, her mother would receive phone calls from a mysterious person. During most of these calls, the caller would be silent, but she could hear someone breathing, like this heavy breathing, like just breath on the other end, right? However, in the last call, she received the person on the other end saying, "I killed your daughter." It was evident that after Darlena's disappearance, police officials at that time did not seem to care. They did not seem to give. They just didn't care. I don't even want to curse, but they just didn't give any F's, y'all. They just didn't care. But we're going to stop right here because I want y'all to tune in the next time because this is getting real juicy, y'all. Like this is crazy. And this case hasn't been solved since.